Well, that was awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your music with us, uplifting us this morning. And I'm so happy and excited to be here with you today, to be sharing this awesome empowerment about allowing your humanness to be your superpower. As you can see, I'm wearing my I'm all ready to share this with you today. So Ernest Holmes and Science of Mind teach us that this thing we call our body is simply a temporary garment for our soul. The soul is eternal, immortal, and it lives forever. Our body is here while we experience humanity, and it disappears in what seems like a blink of an eye when our time on earth is over and our purpose here is done. Personally, I've been studying religious science and embodying its principles for almost 10 years in my life. Yet, it took a crazy show on Netflix to finally put everything into context for me. You never know where Spirit's wisdom is going to come from. That's true. Right. This show is called Being Human. And the gist of it is this. Bear with me. You have a vampire, a werewolf, and a ghost all living together in a small flat in Boston. Now, you might already know that a vampire's superpower, or a couple of them at least, is the ability to have eternal youth and immortality. The werewolf person, human, actually has the power to turn into the beast every time we have a full moon. And when this happens, he can go out and hunt and outrun anybody. And then the ghost can practically go anywhere, because since she is not in a body, she is not limited by our space and time constrictions. But here's the crazy part. Even though these characters possess amazing superpowers, their only wish in life is to just be human. It is as if they don't really care about their superpowers, and they just want to experience life in the same way that you and I do. They long to have the same trials and tribulations, problems, solutions. They want to feel the joy of love and the aching pains of heartbreak. They long to experience uncertainties and even dissolutions. The vampire wants to have a normal, loving relationship without having to worry about draining someone's blood and unintentionally killing them. The werewolf wants to get close to people without shredding them to pieces and accidentally eating them. The ghost just wants to feel once again what it was like to be in a physical body, to be able to feel the velvety touch of a baby's soft skin, to be able to smell a scrumptious pumpkin pie while it's baking on the eve of Thanksgiving, to be able to taste your mom's sweet chocolate chip cookies while they're melting in your mouth, to be able to hug your favorite person and feel their warmth and love as they are squeezing you so tightly. In essence, this ghost doesn't remember the limitations she had while she was human, but all the amazing ways in which she got to express herself and experience her humanness. So in the midst of watching and really binging on this show because I really could not put it down. Every single moment that I wasn't doing something, I had to like go back and watch this. I began to realize all the ways in which I had been taking my physical body and humanity for granted. All the ways in which I had put myself down, criticized, or felt less than enough just because I am human. So I recognize the importance of changing my negative inner self-talk and shifting the focus from seeing my vulnerabilities as limitations and realizing that humanity is my strength. So my invitation for you today, and your special mission for the rest of your life, if you choose to accept it, is to begin to change your thoughts, beliefs, and perception about who you are. Is to begin to think of your humanity as being your true superpower. What if we could totally relish in humanity while we are alive? What if we could actually enjoy it? What if we could focus on all its goodness instead in all its seeming imperfections? What if you could love yourself so much and accept yourself as you are, that your life becomes an incredible expression of who you really are? How could you become even more alert, aware, and fully alive in this time, in this body, in this now? Would you be willing to give it a try?
Yes.
Yes. Awesome. So in this first step, we agree then that humanity is our superpower while living on this earth. What you might not realize, though, is this. This super awesome power inside of you is often dormant. It's sleeping. We are either not aware that we have it, or we just forgot that we actually need to activate it. So, how do we go about turning it on? The answer might surprise you. Though, if you've been coming to Joyful Gatherer for a while, you might already know what it is. Maybe you're just psychic. And it is actually by tuning into your soul, your spirit, divinity, God, or source within you. It doesn't really matter what you call it or how you label it. The important thing is to just know and remember that this vibration, this energy that is breathing you into being, that is moving inside of you, that is expressing within you, is the energy of spirit. And this energy is actually the magic switch that turns your superpowers on. As Ernest Holmes says, the individual who has the most power is the one who has the greatest realization of the divine presence, and to whom this means the most as an active principle in his life. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yes. Sure.
All right. So once you are turned on, because when you turn your superpower on, you are turned on. You are awake. You are here. You are fully present. You begin to tap into the quantum field of infinite possibilities. You begin to release the attachment of being a victim to your current circumstances or limiting beliefs. You truly unleash your superpower and begin to see yourself in a brand new way. you awaken to what is truly divinely possible within you. So in the first two steps, we just recognize humanity as our superpower and the need to tune into spirit or God within to turn it on. So you might be wondering right now, how do I do that? How do I actually turn this power on? How do I actually tune into God within me? And of course, there are infinite ways. These are three of my favorite, as taught by religious science. The first one is breath, the second one is meditation, and the third one is prayer, in this case, affirmative prayer. So your breath is the conduit, it's the bridge, it's that infinite channel inside of you that connects your physical body with God within you. Meditation is a process through which you get to quiet down your mind, you become still, you are much more peaceful, so that you can actually tune in and listen to the vibe of spirit within you. And in the words of Ernest Holmes, your prayer is not so much asking God for things you need to get, as it is to believing that you already have the things that you need inside of you. So these are the three ways through which you tune into God within you to activate the superpower of humanity. In his book, The Spontaneous Healing of Belief, Greg Braden shares a powerful story about an 11th century master yogi whose name was Milarepa. You might already be familiar with it. So Milarepa chose to let go of all his worldly possessions, like many mystics and teachers and yogis have done over our time and in ancient years as well. And he went on journey into a cave in Tibet. In this cave, he meditated, he prayed, he really became fully one with that eternal presence of God or spirit within him. And one day, he chose to walk outside and place his hand on the stone of the cave. So he pressed his hand, and he felt that indeed it was a very hard stone. He closed his eyes, took a deep breath in, and then proceeded to push his hand through the stone, through the wall of the cave. If you travel to this place in Tibet today, you can actually see the impression of Milarepa's hand in this stone. And when Greg Braden was journeying in this cave, he actually was able to place his hand in the same place where the impression of the teacher's hand was, and really began to wonder, like, how did he do this? How was he able to move his physical hand into the physicality of the stone, where our physical laws say that two objects cannot contain, in the same space and time? And the guy that was there with him, it was almost like he just read his mind, because before Greg Braden even asked the question, the guide said, the teacher believed. He said, and I quote, "The great teacher believes that he and the rock are not separate. His meditation teaches him that he is part of the rock. The rock cannot contain him. To the teacher, this cave is not a wall, so he can move freely as if the rock does not exist." When Milarepa's disciple saw his master do something that tradition and other teachers said could not happen, it helped him break through his beliefs about what is possible. He saw his teacher's masteries with his own eyes. And because he witnessed the miracle personally, his experience told his mind that he wasn't limited or bound by the laws of reality as they were known at the time. By being in the presence of such a miracle, Milarepa student was confronted with the same dilemma that everyone faces in choosing to free themselves from the limits of their own beliefs. He had to reconcile the personal experience of his teacher's miracle with what those around him believed. The laws that they accepted describing how the universe operates. So the dilemma is this: the worldview that was embraced by the family, friends, and people of the student's day asked him to accept one way of seeing the universe and how things work. This included the belief that the rock of the cave wall is a barrier to the flesh of the human body. On the other hand, the student has just been shown that there are exceptions to such laws. The irony was that both ways of seeing the world were absolutely correct. Each depended on how someone chooses to think of it in a given moment in time. So too, when you activate your human superpower by becoming fully one with God within, and you believe in yourself, then your humanity, your being human in this moment and time, becomes a place of experience instead of limitation. So in this process, you actually get to release any sense of unworthiness or not enoughness, because you're not pushing or resisting the fact that you are actually incarnated in this human body of yours. You get to accept it and embrace it as you are, and you begin to remember that there is actually nothing missing from you. There is nothing broken and nothing that needs fixing. As Ernest Holmes says, you are an individual gradually awakening to the greater possibility. There's already so much good inside of you waiting to become activated. More power, more strength, more abundance, prosperity, health, well-being, peace, infinite possibilities. It all exists inside of you, just waiting for you to turn it on. You are actually absolutely perfect, just the way you are. And by tapping into Source within, you turn on and activate your superpower and awaken your extraordinary potential. You begin to regulate your internal state regardless of the conditions in your external environment. You embrace and accept what is without judgment, but as a unique experience you get to have because you are in this body as you. So you get to feel fully alive, and you begin to witness and notice all the miracles and magic taking place in your everyday life. Let's breathe that in. And then exhale it. And just ground that vibration in your body right now. And this body that is yours, and this body that's been given to you by divinity. And this body that is your vehicle to fully express all of divinity inside of you. And then take another deep breath in as you open your eyes and you become fully awake and aware and present in this body, in this now. So to recap what I've been sharing with you so far. In the first step, we recognize that humanity is your strength, not your weakness. In the second step, you get to activate your superpower by becoming fully one with God within. And are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Yes.
This is where the third step is taking place. This is where you take action. right? This is where you get to choose to become the superhero you were meant to be. As Spider-Man says, with great power comes great responsibility. So now that your superpower is activated within you, how are you going to utilize it and actually practice it? So being a superhero can be very fun and exciting, right? But it can also be daunting. Being a superhero is standing in your truth and taking action even when it's not convenient or comfortable. Do you want to know who has become my true superheroes lately?
Yes.
I'll share with you. So the teenage students
Kids,
at Parkland,
yes, absolutely.
who in the midst of a terrible tragedy have chosen to stand up for what they believe. They've chosen to transform their grief and sadness into strength and action. They've chosen to stand up for what they believe, to create a movement that is empowering millions of teenagers, moms, dads, grandmothers, grandparents, teachers, and students, as we saw yesterday when we marched for the March for Our Lives. They are mobilizing, they are inspiring, they are empowering all of these people in America to create positive change and transformation. And for the record, this has nothing to do with guns or taking away the Second Amendment. This is just about preventing gun violence and ensuring that our children are safe in school.
Yeah.
Right.
So these students are our superheroes and an eminent example of the courage it takes to act like one. As Greg Braden says, are we willing to accept the relationship we've been shown and the responsibility that comes with such power so that we can apply it in our lives in a meaningful way? Let me ask you again. Are we willing to accept the relationship we've been shown and the responsibility that comes with such power so that we can apply it in our lives in a meaningful way?
Yes.
Right. So if your answer is or was yes, I invite you to stand up right here and now. Please stand up. And if you choose to, take this oath with me right now. First of all, put your imaginary cape on. Place your hands together at your heart center and repeat after me. I, and say your name.
I say your name.
Very funny. Pledge to remember.
Pledge to remember
That being human is my superpower.
that being human is my superpower.
I commit to connecting
I commit to connecting
with God daily
with God daily
to activate this power.
to activate this power.
And today,
And today,
in front of all my friends and community at Joyful Gathering,
in front of all my friends and community at Joyful Gathering,
I choose to become a superhero
I choose to become a superhero
and use my God-given power
and use my God-given power
to serve the highest healing
to serve the highest healing
and highest good
and highest good
at all times,
at all times,
always
always
and in all ways.
and